All right, Mary just sat down with Rachel Maddow, and Mary Trump made some stunning accusations the president's niece. Take a listen to this.
I have to press you on it a little bit, just to ask if the president, if your uncle was an exception to that in your family, or if you ever heard him express either use anti-Semitic slurs or the N-word or other racist slurs or other sentiments like that. Or do you mean this was an ambient thing in your family, but you can't say that you ever heard it from him, or did you hear it from him too?
Oh yeah, of course I did. And I don't think that should surprise anybody, given how virulently racist he is today.
Have you heard the president use the N-word?
Yeah.
And anti-Semitic slurs specifically?
Yes.
MSNBC reached out to the White House for comment, and they said this is a book of falsehoods. Plain and simple, the president doesn't use those words. I want to bring in Reverend Al Sharpton, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network. Rev, great to have you with us. First, let me get your reaction to this stunning revelation, really, that you just heard there from Mary Trump, the president's niece, saying she heard the president use the N-word and use anti-Semitic slurs.
Well, I would agree with the statement she made that it is stunning, yes, but surprising if you look at the fact that they were sued and had to settle for discrimination in their real estate business. And then this president went on with the Central Park Five, where he called for the execution of 5 innocent young black and brown young men that we, many in the community, including myself, stood and said they were innocent. Even after it was found later with DNA that they were innocent, he still said they were guilty and that they should not have been given a settlement. But let's fast forward. This is the president that said there were fine men and women on both sides in Charlottesville, where you had neo-Nazis, self-described some of them, neo-Nazis that marched against Jews, and they were there saying Jews will not replace us. And he said they were fine people on both sides, and there were blacks and Jews on the other side there to protest a Confederate statue. So if you want to say people have used words that they regret in life, you can only match to the actions to see if that is against their actions. His actions would give clear legitimacy to the claims his niece has made.
Yeah, and let me just remind our viewers, it was just earlier this week the president was specifically asked about George Floyd and the killing of black men in this country at the hands of the police. He shot back, fired back, dismissing the question, saying white people are killed more than black people. And also, I'm old enough to remember the president making those comments that were widely considered as playing on anti-Semitic tropes when he was speaking to a group of Republican donors, Republican Jewish donors, and suggesting that they liked a good deal, and certainly along those lines. So this is a president, Rev, who has a track record, also while he's in office and running for office, of using very racist and anti-Semitic tropes.
And backing them up with his actions in terms of housing discrimination, in terms of criminal justice situations, and in terms of how he characterizes neo-Nazis. So let's not just act like these were just words isolated from his actual actions, including now. Blacks are killed 3.5 times more by police than whites in this country. Numerically, are more whites killed by police? That is not the point. The point is the percentage. Right. For him to dismiss that in this era of where we are talking about George Floyd and any number of cases, and him to not even show any kind of concern about that and just flip it and talk about what whites do too, shows a complete disregard for the lives of black people and a criminal justice system that's systemically racist.
Rev, stay with me for a moment. I want to bring into the conversation David Frum, a staff writer at The Atlantic and former speechwriter for George W. Bush. David Frum, good to have you with us as well. So as we just heard, there's some stunning revelations, but as the Reverend Al Sharpton said, perhaps not surprising given what we've seen from the president since he first ran for office and now since he has been president. What is your reaction to hearing Mary Trump say she heard the president use the N-word and anti-Semitic slurs?
look, through all the years of the Trump presidency, I've had a couple of mottos to keep me level. And one of them is that while there are many secrets, there are no mysteries. Is anyone surprised? Is anyone surprised? Donald Trump has revealed himself again and again and again. And right now, even if the president used perfectly polite language in all circumstances, we are going through a pandemic that disproportionately kills people from certain backgrounds and not from others. And that is one of the reasons the president is so negligent about it, that he has this view: take the punch, open the schools without a safety plan, let people suffer, because the people I care about, I'm going to protect more. The people I don't care about, I protect less. So it's not a matter of vocabulary. It's a matter of the way the whole government is operated. And it's not just a matter of the president personally, but of the people around him, many of whom would never use improper language, but they do improper things.
Yeah, the president has gone after everyone. He has said derogatory language about immigrants. He has made derogatory, misogynistic comments about women. He has made derogatory comments about immigrants. As you said, David Frum, this is not necessarily a mystery, but you also have to take in mind the people that have defended the president throughout all of these, many of them establishment Republicans. You have to wonder at what point they're going to listen to this account from a President Trump family member saying officially that she heard these words used and these anti-Semitic slurs used, and for them to kind of come out and say enough is enough and we don't stand or support these words being used by the president.
Look, this is a titanically large country, and it's very difficult to communicate across. So when a president gets into trouble, it's like an ice cube melting in a glass. For a long time, the ice cube looks like it's there, and then there's another moment, and suddenly you realize the ice cube is about to disappear. And that's where Donald Trump is that his support looks like it's there, and then it's going to be not. Now, to the end, millions of people will be with him. But in the country of so many, having millions is not enough. That as you look at all the charts today of the decline of the president's support, the decline in Republican affiliation, he's in desperate trouble. And one of the reasons that this White House is acting more and more frantic, banging at the walls, is because they understand they have a problem and they don't know how to solve it. Look, they just rotated out one campaign manager and rotated in another. The guy they just rotated in was the person whom they asked to save them in 2018, and he failed. So they have a problem, which is a 55% and rising majority of Americans think that Donald Trump is a terrible president, because of whom tens of thousands of people are preventably dead, and we have depression-level unemployment. And that is a tough thing to message, and failure to message in a White House that believes in magic in messaging is driving people crazy.
Rev, this is a president who has tried at least to claim that he has the support of African Americans when he talks about things like the unemployment numbers. But at the same time, as we've noted, the dog whistles to his base about racism and race baiting, they're deafening from how loud they are.
Let us not forget that Donald Trump launched his political career on birtherism. That is how he introduced himself as a political figure, saying that the first black president and only so far of the United States was not one of us. He was born in Kenya, and said he was going to produce birth certificates that never happened. And he kept on that all the way to the White House. When those of us that used to deal with Trump, he and I fell out again over that. And he says, don't call me a racist. I said, what you're saying is racist. But over time, you have to just say he's racist. He's comfortable with racism. He has built a career off of that. He continues as late as this week when he does these police brutality numbers. He embraces racism, and anyone that embraces it, comfortable with it, they are, in fact, racist themselves. You couldn't be comfortable with something that you did not identify and internalize.
Yeah, Rev, David, stay with me for a second. I want to play for you what Mary Trump told Rachel Maddow about why she wrote this book now and not in 2016. Take a listen.
So it wasn't just the speed with which he started upending norms, which he had started doing during the campaign. It was the number of people who lined up to help him in that endeavor, which has only grown longer and more egregious as time's gone on. I can't say that there was a last straw because there have been so many straws, but certainly the horrors at the border you know, the separating of children from their parents, the torture, the kidnapping, and the incarceration of them in cages was unthinkable, unbearable. And when when an opportunity presented itself to me to do something, I needed to take a leap.
So, David, to that point that she made about why not in 2016, when she talks about how quickly he was enveloped and somewhat propelled to this position by the establishment, I go back to the point that I asked you earlier a little bit to expand on it, which is, at this point, now everything that we have seen with the Trump administration, his numbers lagging. You heard today from the governor of Maryland, a Republican, who has criticized the president, saying there's a lack of leadership. Do you begin to see any points within the Republican Party to distance themselves from this president, or is there a serious price to pay for them, like we saw with somebody like Jeff Sessions, who just lost in Alabama a Senate candidacy?
As I say, it's like the ice cube melt. Countries aren't unanimous, and they shouldn't be unanimous. The question is there an accumulation of just enough? So Mary Trump, who has many personal reasons to dislike and disrespect Donald Trump, she was quiet in 2016, as she said, and she had her own reasons for that, and different people have different reasons at different times for why they do things that are difficult. I mean, it's difficult for a member of a family to step out. It's difficult for a member of a party to step out, and one of the things that I think, as we look forward to a better future after 2020, that I think we all have to be mutually understanding of. There are people who acted early, there are people who acted in the middle, there are people who acted later, there are people who acted at the last minute. But so long as you act, it's better to act early, pretty good to act in the middle, all right to act at the end, but it's fine if you act at the very last minute, so long as you act.
Reverend Al Sharpton, obviously black voters in this country are not monolithic. Very complex voters vote on a whole host of issues. But the one thing the president consistently has struggled with is making inroads into the black community, not just because he is tone deaf to them, but at the same time because of some of the policies he has pursued. Is there any chance this president, as he claims, makes inroads with the black voters? And do you see a way that this president between now and November can close that gap where Joe Biden has a commanding lead?
The black community is not monolithic, but they're not stupid. And whether you are a leftist or rightist or one in the middle, you are going to vote your interests. There's nothing this president has done, and he's had huge opportunities from dealing with criminal justice and policing all the way to what is his program to close the gap. Even under the good economy that we had pre-pandemic, we were still doubly unemployed to whites. He never said how he would close that race gap. Every opportunity he had in education across the board, he has failed to say to the black community anything to address the social and real disparities in this country. So it's not a question of whether you are monolithic. The question is, are you going to vote in supporting your own interests? There's no reason he's given us to vote in the interests of Donald Trump. Whether or not his niece had come out with the book or not, people are going to vote their interests. He has not addressed, let's known, served blacks' interests.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.